Welcome everybody to the BA Honours Illustration course at the School of Art, University of Wolverhampton. Today with me, I'm the course leader. My name is Ben Kelly. We've also got Amy Evans, who's a lecturer on the illustration course. We're going to talk to you about the course at the School of Art, University of Wolverhampton, and just give you a little bit of information about how we work. Okay.
So there's so much out there to be inspired by, and if you're already looking at the course, you're probably already interested in loads of visual things, you know, art, whether it's ceramics, textiles, exhibitions. There's so much on Pinterest and Instagram that people are looking at. We're overwhelmed with visuals, really. And what we want to do on this course is take what inspires you and gear your work up to be inspired by what inspires you. So there's no house style. You take inspiration and you work in your way.
So we are Illustration and we live in the School of Arts. We champion hand skills, yet we do much more, from idea generation, research and development through to reportage and documentation. We breed diverse practice and we drive excellence. We have facilities at the School of Art. We've got great sort of studio spaces for students to work in. And on our super course, it's 3 years full time. You're going to get teaching of industry standard skills throughout those 3 years. You'll work on, you know, diverse projects and creative workshops throughout the 3 years. You will, you know, work on continuous making, reflection and critical thinking through the projects that you undertake, and there'll be a focus on practice and the world of illustration. You're going to really find out about the world of illustration through the projects that you take on. And it'll ensure you with a greater knowledge of the creative industries as a whole. You'll find out about art practice and about design, not just illustration. We offer sort of online and offline pastoral guidance and continuous feedback. So you're never going to be on your own with these projects. You're always going to have us by your side, sort of guiding you through. And, you know, we offer lots of different sort of support mechanisms to help you create a fantastic body of work as you go through the 3 years of the course. And we take a multidisciplinary approach to image making as well. So what makes us us? Well, there's no house style, you do you, and I think that's really important. You're going to develop your own sort of visual language as you go through the course. You know, if you see any of our sort of final degree shows, you'll notice that everybody's very different, and I think that's really, really important. Okay. They're going to be small sort of teaching classes, and you're going to get to spend a lot of time with staff during the course of the day, either in studios or online. And you know, we're going to be there to sort of really help you and talk and discuss through your ideas. There's lots of live projects which I'll talk about later, so you'll get a chance to work with real life clients, which will prepare you for professional practice. And as a part of the School of Art, we're part of a creative hub. You know, we do collaborate with other sort of courses as well. We've worked with sort of fashion textiles before, for example, on projects. There's a fluid relationship as well between sort of theory, practice and play, which I think is incredibly important. You're going to be doing a hell of a lot of research into the sort of creative industries and into art practice, and hopefully that'll feed through into your practical work. And we have individual, peer and cross-disciplinary collaboration, which I've discussed before. And it's 100% coursework, so say goodbye to exams. It's all about being in the studio and it's all about making work. Got some great news for 2020, 2021. We've got 2 new tutors who joined our established team, and they're giving us even more possibilities. Amy is one of those, and she's going to talk a little bit about her practice. But our illustration team are active practitioners with diverse industry experience, knowledge and backgrounds. We have Howard Reed, who is a fractional lecturer with us. He also teaches at Central St Martin's in London, and he's with us 2 days a week. He's got an extensive knowledge of the industry and theory as well. And he's got his own sort of PhD in drawing, which he will be sort of talking about at some point with you. We also have Stuart Barley, who again has worked in the industry for many years. He's vastly experienced educator, working across a number of different fields. He also worked in London for many a year at LCC. And we've got Amy. I'll just pass you over to Amy to talk about your practice.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be on the teaching team on the course, because it's a really friendly team, and the students are really at the heart of what everybody does. So whenever anyone needs any support, we're there, and I think you'd agree, Ben, that we're all ready to support any student in any direction they want to take their work. So it's a really lovely team to be part of. So I've been working in the industry for the last 10 years now, mostly for publishing. So I actually started working for publishing while I was at university, and most recently I've been working for more local, smaller press publishers on limited editions of poetry books. So that's my area of sort of specialism, and I'm also really interested in printmaking, and sort of keeping sketchbook journals and patterns and textures, and just really inspired by kind of everyday textures and plants and the outdoors. So it's nice to bring sort of your practice to work as well, and inspire the students. So that's a bit about what I do.
Thank you for that, Amy. And obviously myself, Ben Kelly, I'm an artist and an illustrator. I exhibit work now a lot of the time because I'm sort of here with this course full time, so I get to exhibit in a lot of galleries with my work. So yeah, we've got a pretty diverse lecturing team, and as Amy said, it's incredibly friendly, and it's a really great place to be. So yeah, we provide a broad pool of knowledge for you to dip into, and we have lots of external industry talks and studio sessions. So we've looked to bring guest speakers and practitioners in to talk to you about the industry on a regular basis, and we've had some fantastic speakers in recently across the last few years. Our splendid facilities. Well, as a student, you're gonna get some great facilities available to you at the School of Art in general, and to the illustration course. We've got digital. We've got a great sort of digital print room where you can print large scale pieces. Where you can work with sort of risograph. Here you can see there's a couple of photographs of the screen printing rooms. We've got some fantastic traditional printmaking rooms within the School of Art. Probably some of the best facilities in the country for sure. A really great space that we've kept hold of. And as illustrators, you will be working a lot over the 3 years in traditional sort of printmaking as well, if that's of interest to you. We've got fantastic ceramics facilities. We've got textiles. We've got great photography studios and dark rooms, Mac suites, and an extensive library. These are all sort of great facilities that you can sort of tap into if it's sort of right for your practice.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning that the teachers on the other courses and the technicians for these facilities are really helpful. So if you were interested in bringing textiles into your practice, we just talk to the textiles lecturers and get you hooked up, so that maybe you could have an induction in the sewing machine so that you can go and use those facilities. And nothing's a hassle. Everybody wants everybody to collaborate and have a multidisciplinary approach. So everyone's so friendly and encouraging, and really happy to welcome you into their department as well.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely one of the sort of the great strengths of the school, and it's been like that for sort of many years. It's such a welcoming place to be. So whether your practice is traditional or contemporary, where we can support your personal growth. The things that you're gonna maybe consider and look at on this course, will be drawing, painting, printing. You might be doing some 3D digital work. You're working with risograph, some lens-based media, collage, printmaking, packaging, moving image, sound, type, animation. There are lots of things that maybe you sort of want to consider within, as elements within your own sort of practice moving forward. But you would probably apply them to advertising, to editorial projects, sequential and narrative illustration, comic books and zines, children's books. The list is endless. It's such a big sort of market, really. There are lots of areas to explore within it. Okay, so we've got just a small sample of our student work, which Amy's going to just talk a little bit about now. This is work from 2020. Just before Amy starts, I'll say a little bit about this piece of work. This was a one-day group drawing session we did with Lagun. Lagun are a fantastic collaborative group who came down from London to work with our students, and they made a large-scale sort of collaborative drawing. And we're really interested in getting students sort of collaborating together, so we opened it up and we got some of the textile students involved with the illustrators, and they all worked together on that particular project. Nice piece there. This is by one of our current third-year students. He did this during his second year, and it was for a brief called Empty Your Pockets. It was a one-week second-year brief within the narrative module, and Dan made a little short sort of animation here. He had a theme. He had to empty his pockets or use 2 to 3 objects that he found at home, and he had to develop a short narrative around the theme of protest. So for this piece, he was looking at sort of Extinction Rebellion and Greta Thunberg. So it's a great piece of work, that. Okay, over to Amy.
Okay. So this was a reportage project in Wolverhampton Market. So we like to work locally with what's going on and work on global issues as well as local issues. So the market in Wolverhampton had a renovation, and actually if you go down and see it, it's looking really smart and quite like something you might see in Camden at the moment, I think, Ben.
Yeah, fantastic place.
Pretty good. I haven't been in there yet, but the students went in, they went on a trip, and they sort of did a reportage project, sort of documenting the people and the stories of the people within the market. So here you can see that they've documented all the different market sellers and how long they've been there, and each student had a really different approach. This has got quite like almost an editorial finish to it, and it brings a bit of excitement to the city, I think. to get the illustrators at the school to work with local people.
Yeah, I think for this piece as well, the student in particular went and sort of interviewed a lot of the market sort of traders, and he's decided to bring that into this piece of work because he was sort of documenting a place and a space through a period of time, which, you know, if you're interested in reportage illustration, and that's obviously the way it works. And we've got lots of illustrators who are currently interested in sort of reportage and sort of photojournalism.
And if you've never heard of reportage, then you'll get to learn what it is.
Yeah.
Forward, that's great. And if you want to leave it behind and maybe go into editorial or book cover design, then so be it. You get to try it all.
Indeed.
Okay, this is Sarah Jennings. She is a graduate of the University of Wolverhampton now, but she's gone on to be a really successful children's book illustrator. So she, you know, every year we exhibit at New Designers, and she was picked up by the Bright agency at New Designers. So, you know, barely graduated, and she was already working for one of the biggest children's book agencies in the country. And she's had loads of children's books out that cover really important topics like feelings and sort of consent and things like that. So they're really like on the ball children's books, and she's got a really lovely style. She was always drawing characters when she was at the university, and she's, you know, had a massive, at the time it was massive following on Tumblr, and her work's just gone from strength to strength, and it's looking more and more polished every time a book comes out, and she makes these lovely characters with all these textures. And it was only really in the second year that she kind of started going down that children's book route and really found her niche, and then she just ran with it. And you know, as a course, we supported her to keep exploring that and pushing it until she found a style that really suited her, and it's really paid off for her. So that's an example of her work there.
Yeah, her work really developed across the 3 years on the course, and she was very receptive to the direction that the staff team was sort of giving her, and she worked incredibly well with her. She's really flexible, and you know, she's reaping the rewards now. This was a project from one of the level 6 students during the last academic year. This was a sort of children's book, which I'll talk a little bit about later on, but My Brother's Monster. So, you know, students get a chance to sort of self-author sort of projects on the course as well. If you've got a particular story that you really want to sort of potentially illustrate, then, you know, there's a year-long sort of project at level 5 where you get a chance to do that, and as you move into level 6, you continue to work on sort of long-form narrative projects, whether they be graphic novels or sort of children's books. This was a great piece of work, Amy, wasn't it, by Beth?
Yeah, it was. You know, not all illustrators are natural writers, and not all natural writers are illustrators, and that's fine. But Beth chose to do a personal self-negotiated project in level 6, and she wrote this story. It was an original story about sort of depression in young adults, and from the point of view of a child, and she kind of personified this depression as her brother's monster, and really broke it down, and, you know, used it as an opportunity to talk to young children about a really difficult topic. And that's the kind of thing that we really like to see in sort of those that are going down the children's book route, addressing contemporary issues and things that we're talking about now. And mental health is such a hot topic, and she really addressed it well, and it was picked up by Digital Arts as well. They did a feature for Mental Health Week, so it was really nicely timed as she finished the project. It was Mental Health Awareness Week, so she got some exposure from that, and hopefully from that she'll get noticed and go on to, you know, maybe publish it one day or work on other projects. So it had a really nice pace to it. A lovely book.
Yeah. I think this one will. Oh, apologies. Oh, I'll have to go back to that one at some point. Yeah, narrative illustration. As I said, we've got a year-long level 5 module which focused on narrative illustration. This was a piece from one of the second-year students, and I think he took a series of sort of song lyrics and then started to develop a sort of narrative around that. But he created all his own sort of characters. He was using his own sort of photographs and reference materials to develop this piece of work. And I think that's incredibly important as you sort of work through level 5. You've got to be looking for your own sort of primary source materials to be able to sort of work with to create sort of original images and bodies of work. So yeah, you'll get a chance to sort of study narrative and sequential illustration. There's also a little bit later on some other examples of narrative for you to have a look at. You know, you may be interested in sort of digital work. This was a piece made by one of our Erasmus students who came into level 5 during the last academic year. This was a great piece of work, wasn't it, Amy?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was doing a piece about the seasons, and he was really inspired by where he was from. And you can see that he's done like a really isometric design. Voltaire's work was really sort of on trend. He was very in touch with kind of what was hot now in illustration, and he's gone for that isometric view, and he had fantastic digital rendering skills. And this is just a cross section of the image that he did. It was way more, there was more to it than this, so this is just a small section.
There's almost like about 7 different artworks within that one piece.
Yeah, when you go in, you know, you can see that there's a man in a boat, and you know, these little houses, and you know, it's telling little stories in a really subtle way.
Yeah. So if you're a digital artist, you know, we can support you and help develop your practice.
And if not, you want to, we have workshops and technicians that are really helpful and help you pick up those skills if it's something that you do want to try.
Yeah, this was another sort of level 5 project from last year. So that's the second year level 5, and this is the building. This is the building you would be studying in if you come to work with us at the School of Art. And this was just a 3D AR project, but it was actually for the narrative module. So the idea being with this was the student was looking to sort of tell the sort of stories of the building, which again, you know, fits into sort of narrative. So he designed and built this 3D using 3D package. He built the School of Art, and then he started to sort of go around and populate the rooms with the things that were happening and the stories that we're telling. Unfortunately, lockdown happened, and then he didn't have the access to sort of fully finish this project. He needed access to the building, but I mean, he's going to definitely revisit this, I think, during level 6. So you'll see the hustle and bustle of each floor. Each floor at the School of Art houses a very different subject. So, you know, we're on the 3rd floor of that big building, but I think that's one of the sort of the great things about the School of Art. You know, it's purpose built, and it houses you know, an impressive range of just art and design courses. So you're going to feel really sort of part of a community of practice if you come and sort of study with us.
Yeah, it's just like a little stair journey away, aren't they? So if you do want to nip into textiles, or you do want to go down to the baking, it's all in one building, which is, you know, not something to be taken for granted, I don't think, because it's quite rare for us all to be in one spot and have access to each other and be a real sort of hive mind.
Yeah. Within the building, we have fantastic sort of facilities, as discussed before, but we also have, you know, a canteen where students can come and go and talk to each other from different disciplines, you know. So we're all part of one big family, really, which is fantastic. It's a great place to be. I've loved every minute of working there, and I've been there 16 years now, a long time. Yeah, a couple of sort of portraits that a level 6 student did. That's the 3rd year student last year. Now, if some students are interested in portraiture, but there's always some sort of something behind or something they're trying to communicate through portraiture. I think that's important from an illustrative perspective. The image on the left, for instance, was made up just of a series of climbing hooks. It's a portrait of a climber. This particular student was really interested in sort of indoor climbing. And he was looking at the sport. I think he was going forward for the next Olympics. So he decided to try and create sort of portraits just using the sort of climbing hooks and climbing implements, which I thought was a great idea. So there's always a theme behind the portraits, if you're interested in that. We also do live projects, and we work alongside studio work. So I've got 2 things. I mean, Amy sort of touched on it before, but you can see us working during lockdown. We were still working online, and we continue to do that now as we work. We've got a sort of very much a blended learning sort of style for the course. So parts of it will be in the studio, some parts of it may be online, where we're working together and we're discussing sort of project ideas. So students share their work, and we discuss it as a group. It works really, really well. And you can see up to the left, myself, Amy, and I think Stuart with Beth, and we're discussing her sort of children's book there, which we managed to get some awareness from for digital arts online. So obviously it was for Mental Awareness Week, Mental Health Awareness Week, but we got to work out there during lockdown. So I thought that was fantastic to see. We also worked on another live brief, and on the right hand side you can see some of the 2nd year students working on a rather large sort of project for the Manda shopping centre in Wolverhampton. So this was a live brief that came in, and we got 2nd year and a 1st year student involved in this. And students worked with our lecturer Stuart Varley to develop these rather large scale pieces of collaborative work and digital pieces, and they were going into situ. They were going to be part of the sort of vintage games, video game space at the Manda Centre. The students worked really well during lockdown, working online with us to sort of develop project ideas and themes through to sort of final artwork. So just got a little sort of video to show you about that sort of process and practice. Right. And you can see the final sort of two artworks that the students did, and some stills there. The students really enjoyed going to DIS Graphics to view the large scale prints that were being made, and I think that's really important to sort of see the printing sort of side of you make these visuals. You don't necessarily get involved in the printing side, but it's really good for students to be able to see and see that side of the business. Another live brief that came in was for eBay. So this was a great project that came in. When live briefs come into the School of Art and to the illustration department, we look for the right student to be able to work on that particular brief. And Dan was chosen for this brief. There's a little video you'll be able to watch that shows Dan talking about this particular opportunity. But basically, he populated the eBay offices down at their London headquarters with a series of sort of murals. So it was a fantastic piece of work, and he got a hell of a lot of money for doing that, and rightly deserved, because he produced a great piece of work for eBay's head office.
It's really hard.
He works incredibly hard, and if you work hard and you put the hours in during the course and you develop your work, opportunities come in for students to get on the freelance ladder, which is really important.
These projects are a really good opportunity to sort of develop being a professional as well, because it's one thing being able to use software or have really good hand skills and work to a brief, but working with other people is really important as well, and working with an art director or a client, maybe a client that's got an idea that they might like it a certain way, and you working with that vision. So that's something that you'll have the opportunity to do at the university, which is really going to prepare you for work in the creative industry. So it's a really valuable opportunity.
Absolutely. And what's really important is you start to learn those skills on the course as well, through doing group tutorials and sort of crits with staff and peers, and you learn about the role of the illustrator and sort of art director. So you would have the experience to be able to sort of maybe manage jobs like this.
It's a series of murals in eBay's head office in Richmond, London. I think there's one you see immediately when you go in there in the reception, which is built around a TV. So I had to incorporate that into the design, which is quite a challenge, quite interesting. In the end, I decided it should be a billboard in the cityscape, which again, they really like that idea. Some of the characters are on the stairs, so you've got like someone ziplining down the stairs, somebody trying to ride a bike uphill very unsuccessfully, and I've got another mural right when you exit the elevators onto their first floor, one that's lit up by a light box, which is really, really cool. I still can't quite believe that the heads from Silicon Valley have been down to look at it as well. That's like, I still actually don't believe it. Like, you can tell me that's happened, but I don't believe you. Just can't believe I've had this opportunity and so quickly. I did not think this would be happening until I graduated. Definitely not. It's like, yeah, I'm earning money now as a professional illustrator. It's just a dream come true. 2 years before I expected it to happen. It's insane, but wonderful. I owe so much to this university. Support from the tutors has been absolutely incredible, all amazing. They've helped me so much. It's great being able to talk to professionals like them. They've got so much insight. I know it says it's a university of opportunity, and that it's not wrong at all. Just like a year in, opportunity of a lifetime. I've already hit probably the biggest milestone that I was gunning for, well ahead of when I thought I would. Yeah, it really is like university of opportunity.
So our course across all 3 years, it's a 3-year course. And the first year is very much about sort of an introduction to sort of how to generate ideas, how to research, how to sort of analyse, and you'll work on a wide range of projects that maybe introduce you to some of the fantastic facilities that we have available. So you may be working in screen print, you may be working with risograph, some digital design sort of softwares. And you'll find out about the fundamentals of illustration practice. So we'll introduce you to book publishing, children's books, narrative, reportage. There'll be competition briefs that you'll get a chance to sort of enter, and you're going to develop a sort of a diverse body of work rich in experimentation. And as you can see from the quote from one of our level 4s last year, my head is popping, there's so much learning. And I think that's what you want to be part of, isn't it? That's kind of, it's an exciting first year, and you've got to come into it really being ready to take a few chances with what you do, you know, and really go to town and play. And I think that's really, really important. Level 5, myself and Amy both work on level 5 with Stuart and Howard, and there were 2 sort of 60 credit modules that you'd work on. One has very much a narrative focus, so you'll be looking at sequential work, you'll be you know, considering how to generate sort of personal stories or reflect on what's happening in society. There are lots of live projects that come in, and we start to find out a little bit about sort of the employability side of the course. So we start to sort of get you thinking about your own personal practice and how it can be developed in your own language and where it maybe fits in to the landscape of illustration. Okay. And I found my visual voice and I've got my direction. Hopefully by the end of that sort of level 5 second year, you know, you've really sort of started to get an understanding of who you are and what you want to be. Setting yourself up for the world of work. So level 6 is really about you sort of taking an active role in continuing to develop your final portfolio. You'll do this through personal investigation and maybe self-authorship. You'll build a professional online presence. I know myself and Amy, we both work on the employability side of one of the modules. You know, and that's fantastic for the students, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really, really important. I know that developing sort of your own artwork is really important, and your own practice, your own physical practice. And sort of in this year, your kind of visual thesis is going to be really important. So it's sort of dissertation element of it. But then so is getting ready for leaving university. It's such a big thing. So yeah, we really prepare you for the creative industry. So embedded in the level 6 module is the Silver Employability Award, which is an award given by the university. And we've embedded those skills within the module, so you're able to achieve that. And then we offer the opportunity extracurricular to achieve the Gold Award as well, through live projects and work experience. So it's really getting you ready. We make sure that you've got all the skills in place. We make sure that we know where your practice is going to be positioned when you leave, whether that's going to be a freelance illustrator, whether that's going to work within a studio, whether that's you know, maybe even going on to further study like an MA or anything, or art therapy or teaching, whatever it is that you want to do, and you won't know until you get there and you've tried it all. You know, we're there to support you and put a good plan in place so that when you're leaving ready for work, which is a big worry at the moment. You know, people want to make sure that they're going to get jobs, and you know, especially in the arts, you know, there's a lot of talk about the arts and jobs and things like that. So we want to make you as ready as possible
for the world of work. So that's so you get the silver and the gold employability work. You're going to get the chance to exhibit your work in a degree show at the University of Wolverhampton in the School of Art, which is a fantastic celebration of all the work made by graduating students. You're also going to get the opportunity to go down to New Designers in London and pitch your work against some other sort of university illustration sort of courses and the students on those courses. You're going to get the chance to show and get your work out there. Lots of art directors, publishers come to that week-long exhibition, and it really gives you a chance to sort of make a name for yourself and get some exposure in the capital, which is really important. You know, we have a lot of students who use that week to go and visit art directors and sort of publishers to show portfolios and try and get the work out there, which is really important. We also, you know, consider, you know, you make sure we work with you for websites and social media presences, so you're totally sorted for heading out into the world of work, whether that be freelance or full time. Okay.
Exciting.
It is exciting. It's a great year.
Nothing better than loving your job.
Exactly. I mean, we're lucky to do jobs that we both love.
Very.
What we want for all of our students, really. So it's a way of life. I think anything to do with sort of art practice, illustrative practice, it's a way of life, and it's just a fantastic way to earn a living. So Amy, over to Amy.
Yeah, trips. So this year with COVID, it's well, I would say it's been a little bit different. We managed to get away just before it all kicked off, didn't we? So in February or March, I think it was February, March time, we went to Berlin, and that was fantastic. It was a really good opportunity for students to experience a lot of different galleries and cultural things, but also just experience a different country. For many people, it might be the first time they've left the first time they've visited that particular place, so it's a really good experience to especially if you're interested in reportage or sort of travel journaling as an illustrator. I know that's quite popular, and you get a good opportunity to do that as well. So there are international trips, but there's also national trips, so to things like Liverpool and Birmingham, to go and see what's hot and what's going on in the galleries there as well. So fantastic opportunities to kind of get out there and see what the whole world's doing, really.
I think that's really, really important as well. You want to go out and sort of visit galleries in other countries. You want to sort of immerse yourself in all this sort of culture, which can sort of help develop your own sort of visual language and get you excited. So, I mean, we took the students the year before to Paris as well, and the students absolutely loved that. At some great galleries, and students were going sort of drawing each day, and then coming out and sort of having some food and a drink and discussing sort of ideas at night. It's a great time to sort of meet students from across the 3 years. Sometimes we open it out to other sort of courses within the school as well. So you get to meet lots of different students from across the school, which is ace.
A really great way of bonding and finding out what other people are into as well. So when you're working on a project, you're talking about their work, and then when you go on a trip with them, you find out that you've put a plan together of where they could go, but then they're saying, oh, actually, I'm going to go and visit this, and it's like, oh, I didn't know you were interested in that. So it's a really good opportunity to get to know each other as well.
Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah, so I mean, we've talked a little bit about the industry matters to us there, and we'll make sure that you get the skills and experience and knowledge you need to work within the creative industries across the course. Okay. And we've discussed a little bit about that Gold Employability Award that'll get you ready for sort of graduation. But we've got a fantastic careers department within the university, and students often sort of work with them. They can have mock interviews, for instance, where you can practice your sort of techniques with lecturers and people who work within the careers department. And they're open to sort of discussing your CVs and your skills and how they fit into the creative industries and what maybe specific area you should sort of target. So really fantastic resource that to tap into.
Yeah, that's available for a year after you graduate as well. So they support alumni and graduates with their career plans as well. So it's a really brilliant resource to have, especially when things are so tumultuous at the moment. It's great to have support in finding a career that's going to make you happy.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a really good university initiative called Speed, and that's available to students who graduate or in the final year. And if you want to set up on your own and you have a really good sort of plan in place, or you want to maybe work as part of a studio and you want to set up a little collaborative group, then you go with your plans to pitch them to the university, and there's a chance you can get sort of office space within the university to set up your sort of business. University really does consider and think about the student, and within the employability sort of the office, they've also got lists of jobs that become available each week, and they sort of you can check out and see if anything's available or of interest to you there, and that can be sort of part-time jobs as well, and that you can work on while you're studying. So that's fantastic. Okay, so we've just got a little small sample of our past students here for you to have a little look at. I think we've discussed Sarah Jennings and her sort of her journey through the course, and she's gone on to have fantastic success. So have a little Google of Sarah's work if you're interested. She's flying at the moment, and it's richly deserved.
Yeah, fantastic. Worth mentioning.
Yeah. She worked incredibly hard. We called her the Jennings machine while she was on the course. She was constant. She'd fill up six sketchbooks for a project, and never stop working. And I think she's still the same now, judging by her sort of social media profile. We've got Lenka and Matt Jones as well. They both studied with us. And Lenka has gone on. She studied with us. She did the BA course, and then went on to do a master's down in Brighton. And now she's come back and she set herself up in the West Midlands. She now works for Osborne Books, which is children's book publishing, but she's got her own sort of practice as a freelance illustrator as well. So that's something you can consider. You can work. You can have two strands to sort of practice moving forward. Her partner, they actually met on the course, Matt Jones. He's a great guy. He has done some lectures at the School of Art, and I'm sure we'll get him back in to talk about his own practice, but he's been incredibly successful. While studying on the course with us, he was shortlisted for the Penguin Design competition twice, actually. Once during his BA and once on his MA with us. And from that, he got some work experience down at Penguin headquarters in London, and he did really well there, and he went on to sort of work down at Penguin headquarters as a freelance sort of designer and illustrator of books. So he worked with Penguin for about 5-6 years. He's now come back to the West Midlands, and he's working still freelance for Penguin, but he's also working for Netflix now, and loads of really big sort of corporate businesses in media. So he's doing really well. So he's got of hand skills. He was a great sort of technician, lots of really good drawing, but he also combined that with good digital skills and design skills, because that was his interest.
Yeah, you will have seen his work without even realising, like the Philip Pullman Book of Dust. He did the cover for that, and I'd seen it around, like big displays of it in Waterstones, thinking, oh, Philip Pullman's book's out, and then I saw on social media that was Matt's cover. So, he's out there working for the big boys. Fantastic.
Yeah, he's done really well. Been a great success for the course. We've got Blair Frame, who again is another fantastic illustrator. I remember teaching Blair back in the day, and Blair was a student who he struggled. He wasn't the greatest maybe drawer, and that was his own sort of admission. But he loved image making, and we sort of tried to get him to think about other sort of potential ways to create images, and he got really into sort of collage during his second year, and then started to develop digital techniques and collecting lots of source materials to use within his practice. And he's gone on to do fantastically well. He currently lives in Mexico City as a freelance sort of illustrator, and he works with sort of UK clients and international clients. So yeah, he's doing really well for himself. Great guy as well, really nice guy, a good laugh, which is important. We worked really well together. I think that is important. We've got to work with you, you've got to work with us. We try to develop a really good sort of working relationship with each student. And I think that's important. To get the best, for you to make the best work, you've got to be sort of open and honest. And we'll try and find out as much about you, and you can find out as much about us, and we'll get a good working relationship going.
Yeah, what's really lovely about Blair is that we got him back for a talk for the Creative Employability to sort of share his journey, because it wasn't as straightforward as you went to school, you went to college, you went to university, you got a great job in the creative industry at the end. It was a bit different for him. He was working somewhere else in an electrical company for a while, and went to university a bit later. And when he was asked about what the university did for him, he was really complimentary, and he found that the opportunities he had at the School of Art really helped him find out who he was, maybe a little bit later on. and really pushed him to where he is now. And you know, he's a lovely bloke living in Mexico City now and living the dream. So yeah, really lovely story from Blair.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, with all these students and, you know, as soon as you sort of graduate, we keep in touch with them all, you know, and I think that's incredibly important because they've all got stories to tell and they've all got experiences to bring back to the current students who study on the BA illustration course. We've got Lucy Willing. Do you remember Lucy, won't you, Amy?
Yeah.
Lucy again did fantastically well. She was a winner of the Penguin. It was the Puffin Prize, wasn't it, that she won for Carrie's War? You can see it there. And she had some great experience again down at Penguin Books. And she's now working as a designer, isn't she, down in Cornwall, I think?
Yeah, for giftware.
Yeah.
Huge. She's got this lovely seaside life, and you know, working in a graphic design company. Even though she studied illustration, she has a very graphic application for it. You can see that from her work.
But you can see the joy of sort of illustrative sort of type and wording within her work, aren't you, really? So she's a designer coming from an illustrative perspective, maybe, and I think that's kind of interesting as well, isn't it?
Yeah, she's really playful with her work, and you can see that would have a really commercial application as well. She pays good attention to colour, and you know, like Sarah, like Blair, really hard worker.
Yeah, without a doubt.
No,
definitely. And we've got Sarah Grayley as well. I thought Sarah Grayley was definitely worth flagging up. You may know her. You may follow her on Instagram. I mean, she's got nearly 600,000 followers. So maybe you're one of them. But Sarah works a lot with sort of comic books. So she designs her own sort of personal stories. And sort of, you know, gets them out there and self-publishes. She's a big one for the sort of comic convention. She was a great student. Sarah actually, so I'll go back to that slide. Sarah came onto the course in the third year, and the reason why she came on the course was because she was following Sarah Jennings, the Jennings Machine. She was following her work on social media, and she was really excited by the work Sarah was making, and she wanted to come and study at the same place. So Sarah came to study with us, and she had a fantastic final year where she was self-authoring comic books. And you know, she's gone on to do really well for herself, and will continue to do so. So you can see there's a sort of variety, you know, of students who have sort of graduated. They've all got their own personal visual language. They're all going off on their own sort of diverse paths through the creative industries. And I think that's something we will always continue to champion on the course.
Yeah.
So, you know,
if you force them down a particular route that you don't want to go, you know, if you sort of encourage somebody's natural interest, then you're going to make a success of it. So that's what we want to encourage. Exactly.
Well said, Amy Evans. So together we work, so together we advance. Our students do what they achieve, the careers they enter, and most of all, the work they produce gives us a place of pride. We're very proud of all the students who've come through this course over the years, and you know, the students who we currently work with. It's an incredibly exciting place to be, you know, and it's, you know, we hope you're interested in coming to join us. You would be very welcome. So thank you for your time. Hope you've enjoyed this talk. If you've got any questions, please feel free to email me. My name is Ben Kelly. I'm the course leader, and you can see my email is there. It's actually ben.kelly, so it's Ben, Ben, .kelly at wlv.ac.uk. And I can answer any questions about the 3 years of the course.
Yeah, it's a big choice to make, choosing a university. You know, it's a big decision. So the more questions you ask, the more informed you can get, the better decision you're going to make. So ask away. Yeah, please ask away. And I'm sure there'll be a time when we'll be able to get, you know, you can come into the building and have a tour of the fantastic facilities on offer. Yeah, definitely. So thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed the presentation.